So you want to know how much it costs to live in Las Vegas, Nevada? Well, this video is all about the cost of living in Las Vegas, Nevada, so stay tuned. Hey, I'm Bob West, a realtor with eXp Realty, serving Las Vegas and Henderson, Nevada. I get a lot of calls from these videos from people thinking about moving to Las Vegas, Nevada. So if that's you, just call the number below and I'd be happy to help. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button and find that notification bell so you'll get notified when I make more videos like this one. And if there's a specific area or part of the community that you'd like to see in greater detail, just drop it in the comments below and I'll make a video just for you. In this video, I'll go over the cost to expect when living in Las Vegas or Henderson, Nevada. The cost of living in Las Vegas or Henderson is pretty similar, but there are some differences. You're going to discover some very pleasant things. You're also going to discover some things that are maybe not so pleasant. So, do you want the good news first or the bad news? The Las Vegas Metro is made up of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, and Paradise, which is an unincorporated city containing the Las Vegas Strip and the newly renamed Harry Reid Las Vegas International Airport. All of this lies in Clark County, Nevada, where the effective property tax rate of about 0.65% is near half the national average. So Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson make up the metro area that is Las Vegas, the metro in Clark County, Nevada. Nevada, the state where there is no state income tax. That's a big benefit for any residents moving to Las Vegas or Henderson, Nevada, is there's no state income tax. Gambling and entertainment take up a lot of the tax burden, which means that the residents actually get some of that benefit. Taxes are much lower than many of our neighbors, especially those on the West Coast, making Las Vegas a very, very appealing destination. Taxes are a major factor when considering the cost of living in any city, as are utilities, healthcare, transportation, food, and everything else. So let's go over all of these in a little bit greater detail, and everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different here. So we'll go over these so you can get some clarity on what it would cost you and your family to make the move and live in Las Vegas or to live in Henderson, Nevada. If you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas or Henderson, the first thing you'll notice is the cost of housing. Housing in Nevada has skyrocketed in the last couple of years, much like it has done in a lot of cities nationwide. The average home price is now around $400,000. Depending where you're moving from, that might be a very pleasant number or a very unpleasant number. The cost of a house is still really low in Las Vegas compared to our neighbors in Southern California, which is why so many of them are making their way to Las Vegas, Nevada. The cost of a home in Las Vegas is much higher, though, than a lot of the country, which also keeps the rents in Las Vegas up there as well. Renting in Las Vegas can actually be more expensive than owning a home in many cases. There are so many people making the move to Las Vegas, which means renting a single family home, a townhome, a condo, or even an apartment means facing a lot of competition when you do. Las Vegas used to be considered a transient city, meaning that people would move here for a little while and then eventually end up moving on somewhere else. However, recently, with the incredible growth in Las Vegas, more and more families are calling Las Vegas home for a longer term, which means the city is becoming less transient, but that competitive nature in the rental market that a transient market has, it becomes even more competitive when there are families willing to stay here, because that means there's even fewer homes to go around to rent. Anybody that's been a part of the real estate market in the last couple of years knows that finding a home in Las Vegas has been incredibly difficult. Finding a rental has even proven to be more difficult in some cases. You've likely heard of areas like Summerlin and Green Valley, commonly known as very family-friendly locations in Las Vegas and Henderson, but now with the growth around the city, you can find that family-friendly lifestyle in a lot of different locations. In Centennial Hills, in Mountain's Edge, in Inspirada down in Henderson, the city continues to grow outward toward the mountains and provide more and more opportunities for great neighborhoods with great parks, tons of amenities, great neighborhoods with all the shopping that you ever need. Find it in a bunch of different pockets now all over the Las Vegas metro. Living a life of luxury can happen in Las Vegas and Henderson at a much lower price than especially our neighbors in California, which means a lot of them are moving here to take advantage of the relatively inexpensive real estate. One of the really cool things about Las Vegas is that you have mountains on 3 different sides. And from the mountains on the west side in Summerlin, you have incredible views. The same thing in Henderson. You have some incredible mountain views. It's called the Las Vegas Valley because it actually sits in the middle of a valley. The Strip basically sits right at the bottom of that valley. So you have the mountains on one side, the mountains on the other, meaning that all of that land can be used for really, really impressive real estate and home sites. Me as a golfer, I see that all the time. That's where a lot of the luxury golf course communities are. In Las Vegas, you have places like the Ridges, where Bears Best Golf Course is located. You have Red Rock Country Club. You have TPC Summerlin, where the Shriners Hospital, the PGA Tour event is played. You have the Summit Club, an incredible place in Summerlin that just opened up not too long ago. And then going down, you have Southern Highlands in the southern part of the city. You also have Dragon Ridge, incredible location with so many beautiful homes. Luxury real estate in Las Vegas continues to grow. It continues to expand. And it is really, really impressive. You can also go out to Lake Las Vegas, where you'll find some incredible homes on South Shore Country Club and Reflection Bay. Or if you want a couple of acres with some land for some horses, you have opportunities to do that in the northwest part of Las Vegas or in the southern part of the city as well. No matter what you're looking for when it comes to luxury living, chances are you can find it in Las Vegas, Nevada. The number of athletes, entertainers, and entrepreneurs that are making their way to Las Vegas just proves that point. Everybody was already coming here anyway to enjoy the incredible Las Vegas Strip. It only makes sense to buy a luxury home with incredible views in a really, really hot real estate market. The next cost on our list is the cost of healthcare. One of my favorite tools when comparing the cost of living is a tool called wolframalpha.com. It's a math-based search engine, and I'm not a mathematician, so that's about as far as this explanation is going to take you. But what it does is provide a few different indexes for the cost of living compared to national averages. A search on Wolfram Alpha for the cost of living in Las Vegas, Nevada shows us that the cost of healthcare on a nationwide index is actually slightly lower than it would be in a similar city with similar costs. So you could expect to pay a little bit less for healthcare in Las Vegas, which is a nice benefit. The VA hospital in Las Vegas is a big draw for veterans moving to Las Vegas or veterans that have already lived here. With the Nellis Air Force Base in the northeast part of Las Vegas, it makes it a perfect match. There are many veterans moving to Las Vegas and many of them that call Las Vegas home, which makes that VA hospital all the better to have right there. One of the costs that goes right in line with the cost of healthcare is the cost of childcare. Now, a lot of my friends have kids. Me and my wife just have a Jack Russell Terrier puppy named Mo. He gives us all the energy and action and responsibility we currently need. A lot of my friends do have kids, and I hear them talking about the cost of childcare. On a nationwide average, Las Vegas is actually a little bit less expensive than a lot of cities with a similar cost. However, you will pay a considerable amount, so that's always something families moving to Las Vegas want to consider, especially families with kids. Next up on the list is the cost of utilities. How much should you expect to pay for electricity, water, and gas in Las Vegas or Henderson, Nevada? Well, on a nationwide level, we're actually right pretty much in the middle. We're a little bit more expensive when it comes to utilities, but when you compare us to our neighbors in Southern California, for example, the cost of utilities in Las Vegas is still relatively inexpensive. We do run electricity quite a bit. In the summertime, your air conditioner will be running all the time, if not all the time, and that cost can be considerable because of the use of the air conditioner, and generally those are electric. In the wintertime and to offset some of the electricity in the summertime, many homes out here have gas heating. So the gas heating and the gas stove can help to eliminate some of that energy cost and that energy bill in the summertime when it gets really, really high. But one of the other things that a lot of Las Vegas, Nevada residents do is get solar, and it makes sense for a lot of them because we get constant exposure from the sun here in the desert. And for most people, if not all people, it almost always makes sense to get solar on your roof to bring down that monthly energy cost. If that's something that you're interested in, drop a comment below or call the number at the end of this video, and I'll make sure to get you plugged in and get you the family and friends discount, because that's what my brother does in his profession with his business. That's what I always like to do with my clients, is get them plugged in with anybody and all the resources they need. But with solar, I've got that family connection, so the deal is even sweeter. Water is the next utility we'll talk about. Because Las Vegas is in the desert, water consumption can be fairly expensive. For the average homeowner, it actually stays fairly affordable. The water usage, the more your water usage goes up, the more the price of your water goes up as well. It's a tiered system. So in the summertime, if you have a lush green yard in the backyard and you're keeping that pool full from evaporation from the desert sun, you're going to be paying a considerable amount for your water bill. That's why a lot of people will choose to go with turf, xeriscaping, some type of desert landscaping to keep that water bill down. And actually, the Las Vegas Valley Water District will help you with that cost. If, for example, you buy a home that has green grass, you can actually get paid to switch that out for turf or for rock or some type of desert landscape that is going to use less water, help the city overall conserve, and to pass along that savings the city is going to incur. They actually provide the homeowner with a considerable credit toward their bill, or even just a check to take care of that cost. The next cost to consider is the cost of food. Nationwide, Las Vegas actually ranks a little bit higher than cities of a similar cost of living when it comes to food and grocery. However, the one thing I can tell you is that Las Vegas has every single option across the board, from budget grocery stores all the way up to a Whole Foods and a Trader Joe's and boutique type grocery stores with organic kind of things, or Costco and a Sam's Club, Walmart's all over the place, Target's. There are plenty of options when it comes to grocery shopping, and depending on where you are in the city, you'll always have a few of those options nearby, which is really nice. One of the really cool things about Las Vegas is the culture. If you're looking for an Asian grocery store or a Latin grocery store, you're going to be able to find those things and make some of the dishes that you knew from your home country. No matter where you're moving from, you're going to be able to find a taste of home in Las Vegas, and it's really cool as a Las Vegas resident to be able to enjoy the food and get a little taste of the culture from all of these different places around the world. The last cost that we'll go over, and honestly, this is the one that I hear people complain about the most, and it's the cost of transportation. Mainly in Las Vegas, you'll hear people complaining about the cost of car insurance. Now, compared to some neighbors, again, it's relatively inexpensive, but it's definitely more expensive than a lot of places around the country. Las Vegas ranks fairly high in the national indexes when it comes to the cost of transportation. Now, it could be because of all of the incredible luxury cars that you'll find around the streets. It could be all the crazy California drivers moving here. Whatever it is, the cost of insurance will be a little bit higher. One of the things that I always remind people of, though, is to mitigate that cost. You can oftentimes lump it with your homeowner's insurance to get a considerable break if you're not already doing that. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you're a newly married couple, and you're making the move to Las Vegas, that's definitely something that you'll want to look at. It can help drop the car insurance quite a bit and make that a lot more affordable on a monthly basis. Overall, the cost of living in Las Vegas and Henderson, Nevada is fairly competitive when compared to similar cities nationwide. Add that to the fact that you have the Las Vegas Strip right there, home to the best dining, entertainment, and gambling in the entire world, and you can actually see that it's pretty cheap to live in Las Vegas, Nevada. At least that's the way it feels to me sometimes, because you have all of that option right there for you, but if you want to cut back a little, if you don't want to go out and spend that money, you don't have to. You can live a nice, quiet life in the desert as well. When I talk to clients moving from major metros on the West Coast, like LA, San Diego, San Francisco, even Portland, Seattle, they're all pleasantly surprised at the low cost of living in Las Vegas, and that's why so many of them continue to make the move. I hope this video gave you a great idea of the cost to expect when living in Las Vegas or Henderson, Nevada. If there's a cost you're wondering about specifically after watching this video, just send me a message or call the number below, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. I'm Bob West, Realtor with eXp Realty, serving Las Vegas and Henderson, Nevada. If you're thinking about making the move to Las Vegas, just call the number below. I'd be happy to help you however I can. Make sure to click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll get notified when there's more videos like this one. And if there's an area you want to see in greater detail, just drop it in the comments below and I'll make a video just for you.